Hi guys, and welcome to my magnificent 7 flies that are essential for fishing in September. But before we get into it, let me share this small tip with you. I'm going fishing tomorrow actually, and I'm hoping to get some dry fly sport in. And what I've done is I've got my reel out with my floating line. Now when you're dry fly fishing, the last thing you want is the tip of your fly line sinking below the water. So what I use is some green muslin. Now the label's a bit worn on this, and I'll stick a little picture up in the corner there of what it looks like when it's new. But you simply take off the lid, it comes with a little pad, get some of the muslin on, and the first 4 to 5 feet of your fly line, you simply run it through the muslin, and this helps to keep your floating line on the surface of the water, and you just reapply as required. So that's our little tip. Without further ado, let's get into the magnificent 7. Summer's nearly over. It certainly feels that way where I live, and the cooler weather is bringing the fish more to the surface. So a lot of the flies that I'll be concentrating on my Magnificent 7 today are with that in mind, except for one, and that is number 1. The Humungus then. It's a very famous pattern, certainly in Scotland, and it catches an awful lot of fish. Now, what I would generally do with a Humungus is fish it in a pair. So I would fish the silver and white one on the top dropper, and then I would fish the black and gold one on the point. And I would fish it generally on a DI7, a DI8, a very fast sinking line. And I would count that sinking line down up to 30 seconds in some cases before retrieving it back in a mixed up sort of retrieve. So a bit of figure of eighting, a bit of long pulls, short pulls, and I would always make sure I hang, because very often you can pull up them big resident brown trout and they will take your fly on the hang if you hang your flies. So that's number 1, the Humungus. Number 2 then. As I said at the start, the fish are really starting to come to the surface now, and surface sport can be phenomenal. And what I've always found particularly effective is a daddy longlegs pattern. Now I have several different flavours of daddy longlegs patterns, and what I like to do with these is fish them in a team of flies with the daddy longlegs on the point. And above the daddy longlegs I would have 2 much smaller flies such as hoppers or bob's bits. Number 3. The sugar cube then. Now I'm showing you this one in black, but I also really like it in ginger and claret. And again, I would fish this as a team of 3 flies, and my team would be about 3 or 4 feet apart on a 12-foot leader. And these can be phenomenal. So generally I would cast out, I would count to between 5 and 10 seconds. If I've had no action from its initial land, I would start to tweak these back, and the sugar cube causes a lovely disturbance in the water that can be really attractive to trout, and you can often induce a take that way. Number 4. HARROP'S Red Devil. Now I know this fly may look a bit of a joke fly, but this has actually caught me more fish than I care to recall. It's a superb fly, and it's an ideal fly for fishing on the washing line. And you can use, if you don't know what the washing line is, I'll stick a little link up to the theory side of the washing line in the bar above, but I hope to do a video very soon on the practical side of washing line. So HARROP'S Red Devil, it looks like a small red fly with a tiny wing. It predominantly fishes best on the top dropper, but I've fished 3 of these on a cast with either a booby or a fab on the point on a 22-foot leader, and it can be extremely effective in September. Number 5 then, a micro fab. Now Fabs are really great flies for either a top dropper or a point fly, and what they do is if you want to fish at a uniform level, you put one on the point, one on the top dropper, and then whatever fly line to get your flies to the depth you need. It works really well with some of the midge tip lines, but this one's on a size 14. It's very small. It's got a little bit of foam in the back here, which you can see, and I've got a little bit of twinkle flash at the back, which I find very effective. On to number 6. The cormorant. It's an all year round fly, but in September I like to fish a pearly variant, and the fish take this for small pin fry, and it can be fished either pooled or figure of 8. It can even be fished static, but it's a great all-round generic pattern that works really well. If I'm fishing cormorants, I tend to fish either an attractor pattern such as a blob on the top dropper and then 3 cormorants in and back. And very often as you retrieve, the fish will be brought in by the blob and then they'll turn and they'll hit one of your cormorants. Number 7 then, and it may be last, but it's certainly not least, the CANDYFLOSS booby. Now, this is the Magnificent 7 for the month of September, but this fly is magnificent throughout the year. It's just one of the flies, and it may be a confidence thing, that I will always be happy to fish. And I'll use the CANDYFLOSS booby for either the supporting fly on a washing line setup. I'll often fish it on its own on a 10 to 12 foot leader, and it can be fished on a floating line down to a DI8. It's just the most devastating fly in my box all year round, but in September it does a job for me as well. Well folks, that's my Magnificent 7. If there's something that wasn't there that you think should have been, please let me know in the comments section below. Thanks very much for watching the video. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please give it a like, and I'll see you all next time.